I will begin with saying this, is that for those of whom does not accept me with open arms, I am not, and I repeat, I am not affected in the least. And to who should have decided to befriend me, accept me with open arms, or believe in us, or continue to believe in everything that I ultimately, or we ultimately do on behalf of Jen, including myself. For what we say and what we do, everything is collided within each other. It pushes our positive energies against the inertia of blackness of the world, of all the corruption that might exist of the world in itself. And should someone believe in us or not, is not entirely, it does not entirely hold any relevance or an ounce of significance towards us, considering that, you know, as a public figure myself, we're always constantly responsible for our actions, for what we say, what we do, and for who we are. And there's a greater responsibility that is invested within ourselves towards being a positive role model to everyone as a collective, as an equal. And what we promote is an equality through diversity. And if someone cannot accept our arms and welcome with open arms and friendship, or what have you, or our positive energy of our kindness and everything that ultimately we strive towards a future, to devoting everything of ours into a burning collective of our passionate fire. This person in particular never truly valued the integrity of our individualism, how to accept someone with open arms, and to ultimately spellbind that into an internal circle of mortality itself, and how to accept someone into with open arms, to welcome that person or individual into your life. You know, from this particular individual, I never once had received a phone call, I never received a text. I was neither Jen nor myself, neither one of us were ever invited out to attend anywhere with this particular person. I'm not going to say names, obviously. I will not be addressing names for obvious reasons. It carves a deeper manifestation. It consumes something deeper to the core within the infrastructure, architecture of your spiritual fire. Basically, spiritual fire is my interpretation of your soul, your spiritual body in itself. And it affects it deeper to the heart and directly to your core of your consciousness. And it is unfortunate. You know, this world needs a positive change. We need to all become a collective together. We need to become something greater than ourselves, to rise above the negative energies and influences of the world itself. And how do we breathe transcendence? Are we all just alive and we're breathing? The world should be the model and the encompassing of the universe as a collective, as a whole, should manifest something so much greater than anything else we can ever possibly imagine. And everything is possible as long as we are able to put our minds and devote ourselves towards the compass of life for everything that we do. And for a human being such as this to have not accepted us with open arms, well, she might have accepted us with open arms at first, and then ultimately after a course of time, you know, such as an example for Comic-Con to be example, which had transpired as of last weekend. And after Comic-Con had transpired, I ultimately realized the authenticity or the validity of friendships in general. And the majority of everyone that apparently was close to us, or proclaimed to have been close to us, or even those of some of our followers, they never reached out to me. They never personally reached out to neither Jen nor myself. And to have been a visitor for Saturday only, considering that was the only day that we could have afforded, that was the only day that we were able to coerce our schedule and manifest that into that possible one-day perspective. And neither one of us were provided a call with, or molded or accepted with open arms. And it's almost as if we're just sort of left out into the darkness. As if everything that we had taught through the moral guidelines and principles of our values and the core structure of our principles and of our positive influence somehow did not mentally resonate or have that discovered in the balance of the equilibrium within the minds of others. And it's such a sad, unfortunate state of affairs in how, in a collective of the infrastructure within a modern societal structure that we have in a modern world today, not many people take the initiative or the time or energy or the effort or devote their passionate fire towards the commitment and responsibility and how to change the world ultimately. So that greatly offended me on my behalf, personally, as a human being. And the very least that society could do is to disconnect their minds from technology and lean towards more of how to connect and build upon that relationship within one another as a humanity, as a whole, as an encompassed world together when we collide. There's a clash, a constant perpetual balance, a repetition between light and darkness. So we have to choose in our life of what we want to choose to become immersed, to be a part of. Whether if you should decide you desire a future or the surrounding of your entire human existence crafted and molded by the oceans of blackness, or should you rise and ascend within the phoenix, the flames of the light of providence, the divine, sacred, sanctified sun and the moon, the light of all life. So with this being said, I did not intend to, I did not want to. However, for the greater influence, for the greater sake of, on behalf of Jen, including myself, I had no other choice but to completely push out this person and this negative influence, this black mass of anti-gravity, of all negative influence out of our life. And we have to just allow the weight of gravity to pull it down to the earth with the release of our spiritual body. With the release of our hand, we just let it go, and it just descends down into the void of blackness, of nothingness. And where this void exists is where nothingness and emptiness remains. Needless to say, I do not allow anyone to influence or deteriorate, dismantle my faith, my courage, my knowledge, my passionate fire of all things, or the stability of my mentality, or of the coloration of my heart. I allow no such mortal being to have placed a sword of judgment upon me, to have cut my flesh in their judgment. And the important thing that I always remind myself is that no mortal holds the authority or the rightful place in the judgment of this world to place their sword of judgment against my flesh or of my mind, except from derived from the divine creator himself or spiritual deity. So with this being said, on behalf of myself, including Jen, we will continue to rise to the occasion. We will continue to fulfill the obligation of our moral, sacred purposes as we continue to rise to influence and inspire the world despite what anyone else might hold their belief held upon or over us, or their perceptions or perceived notions or judgments, their internal or outward mental perspective of us. And as mental perspectives go, it comes together and collides much like a ball, much like anti-gravity. It collides at first and it just scatters out like the wind. So, most important vital lesson to have learned from my personal experience is a spiritual awakening that occurs in each day, that transpires, that transcends as you breathe that life of light and of everything that is positive within yourself. Alright everyone, so I just want to wrap this video. In conclusion of this video, I just wanted to say that while this person, individual in particular, never had the incentive to reach out to neither one of us, and realizing that we had attended on a Saturday, and this particular individual had attended for all 4 days, and had mingled with so many of her other, comrades or buddies, friends, what have you. Never had given the opportunity or the notion to have spent time with us. A simple phone call or a Facebook instant message would have sufficed, or something, anything would have sufficed. You imagine that you would share a deeper relationship so much with the person in particular that ultimately you would be like, I would do it with both hands, but it's not possible. But to be collided together, to be inseparable as a relationship, as far as a sisterhood or a friendship is concerned, I was just disappointed, to be honest. So everything's better now, and ultimately you just have to focus on a positive perspectives of everything you perceive in life, and just be yourself, be who you are, and be proud to have expressed who you are. And I love life. I love everyone equally and embrace everyone equally with open arms, and just accept everyone for who they are naturally. Try to keep the peace between everyone. I never get involved in drama and conflict of any kind or type. It's not of my greater interest. It's not of my concern or our business either. So we live a clean, healthy, positive, and honest lifestyle. Very clean. We follow the rules. We follow the laws. We never bend the rules. Maybe once in a great while, depending on my mood. But live a very healthy and organic, very peaceful lifestyle. And it's very unfortunate that I had no other recourse or choice but to have taken the alternative method, which obviously was to have blocked this individual and push her completely out of our life. And if you are somehow watching this video, we sincerely apologize. You have to show more commitment. You have to show more dedication towards treating someone as a human being and not a cattle or byproduct or a dollar sign, if you will. Not that this individual treated us as a dollar sign, but it was more for our fame. Considering that we are public figures on behalf of Jen, including myself, And there's a sense of a deeper apathy that exists and breathes within the infrastructure of modern society that it's very degrading, it's very disgusting and venomous and vile. So with this being said, that I certainly wish to see that more people were to experience an awakening and become more open-minded to ultimately free your mind. And there's so much narcissism, there's so much apathy in the world today, and it's beyond our understanding. It's so palpable. And our intention is to create a greater world that exists for a way that we could change the world, of planting the seeds of knowledge, of inspiration, of all things that is possible and positive in the world. You know, we are ourselves down-to-earth people. If you are somehow to run into us in public, we are down-to-earth. We will always give you a time of day to give an hour or 2 hours out of our day just to have a conversation with you, or sit down and have a cup of tea or coffee. And that is a promise. And especially if you want to photograph with us, we do it for free. We don't charge money like a lot of the celebrity people do, and conventions and otherwise. But ultimately, we are good-natured human beings. We have a good heart with positive intentions, obviously, and our aspirations. Hey, Jen. Looks good.
Pina colada.
Pina colada. Hey.
Hi. Yeah.
So we're signing off here. I believe I had spoken enough for tonight is concerned. And always keep that in consideration, you know, just always, I believe this is going to be a continuation from the first part of the video. Always embrace your individualism. Never allow anyone to manipulate your mind or try to coerce you into bending the will of your own purpose of life. Your purpose of existence is how to greater yourself and how to rise above the obstacles and the oceans of blackness of the world. So, alright. Very well. Subscribe, share our videos with others in our project, and